So welcome to my latest module overview video. This time I will be looking at the Erica Synths Moog Parametric EQ. It's a single band EQ based on the original free band Moog Parametric EQ. It's a bandpass filter with variable frequency, width or Q curve, and height or boost and resonance. There's CV input for controlling the frequency of the filter, and there's plenty of boost and drive available from the height knob. Although it's based on a bandpass filter, to me there's a little extra magic in this that I can't quite put my finger on. It seems to let the original signal really shine through more, especially with high width settings. As I said, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it definitely sounds different to other bandpass filters I've heard. So let's get stuck in. So here's a saw wave going into the unit. And dropping the signal level like other filters gives a different response with the filter sweep. Taking the height down, it's a much smoother tonal shaper, but with it back up full it's got a great boost and overdrive that I really love. The thin width and full height is where I think the unit really excels. Here's a sound with a square wave. And to show how you can drive and add colour and harmonics to a simpler wave, here's a triangle wave with the unit's overdrive adding in some extra colour. So here's the EQ with some wavetables going in, which are coming out of the E350's XY output. There's a real volume boost and overdrive to the unit with a height full. Taking this down, we lose some of the drive and volume boost, but the clean shaping is still really nice. So I've got a square sub and a saw going into mixer, then into the Erica Moog EQ, which is then pre-filter, and I'm using a Borg 2 filter in low pass gate mode. Taking the EQ out of the patch, you can hear the waves going through the Borg low pass gate, and this is the patch without any of the EQ. And as the Erica EQ is pre-filter, we can use it as an EQ and tonal shaper to shape the waveforms that are actually going into the filter. The extra drive with a high width setting provides some nice additional harmonics to the sound. And swapping the Borg 2 and Erica EQ around so the EQ is post-filter, it gives us a totally different sound and response in the patch. So to show you what I've got going on before the EQ, the Dixie oscillator to the left is sending a saw wave as FM modulation in the exponential FM input, which is controlling the FM input on a sine wave coming out of the Dixie oscillator on the right. So that'll be quite a familiar sound to a lot of you, I imagine. We're taking the saw wave FM modulator into the Erica EQ first, and then the EQ out into the FM input to modulate the second Dixie oscillator. We can affect the original saw wave and change the response to the FM modulation. And with the height up full, the extra drive and boost from the EQ gets some really mad sounds out of the FM. So So with this patch I've got a simple bass arpeggio using wavetables from the E350, which are going into the Erica Moog EQ, and then I'm going into the Borg 2 filter. Turning up the Borg 2 filter you can hear the sound coming through. And with the height knob lower on the Erica EQ we can get some nice subtle shaping. Turning up the CV modulation, I've got a sequence coming at the CV input which is giving some nice changes on that tonal variation from the EQ before the Borg filter. If I just drop the level to my sound card, as the height adds such a volume boost, I'll then push the height up, which gives more varied overdrive and added harmonics, which are running in time with the other sequences in the patch. So I'm going to look at bringing in some external sounds, and I'm going to start with drum loops. I'm just going to drop the level to the sound card and then turn the height up full, which gives more of a resonant boost. So now we've got a Mozart piano concerto running through the module, and you can hear the modules can still be used for some subtle and quite warm tonal shaping when the height's down low. So moving on to some hip hop, this is The Breakdown by Ugly Duckling.
We got signed in 99. 2 LPs performing overseas. Show after show, we be taking the stage straight, getting no sleep, making minimum wage. Begging for support from the labels in the press, but they look right past us and be like, they said the sound won't make it today. They don't want to hear what we're trying to say. So we're knocking, but we can't get in. We're not knocking, but we can't get in. We're not knocking.
So I'm going to use the Moog Erica EQ now to shape a spring reverb send effect. Here's the original sound, and then turning that down, here's the spring reverb up full. And I'll then mix in both the dry and wet signals. So here's a simple bass sequence, and you can hear the bass running dry at the minute, but I've also multed the output of the filter into a Synthratech echo, which is a nice crunchy lo-fi delay. Then the echo is going into an EQ unit, which I'm going to use to shape the delay sound. So now I'll add in some of the original dry signal. And then finally adding a clocked LFO into the CV input to get some moving EQ shifting on that delay. So I think this module makes a really great and subtle tonal shaper, and what I think is really nice is when you're using it early on in a patch to colour oscillator waveforms, or even at the end of the patch on things like effects, to shape a larger patch and how that's all coming together. But where it really excels is the amount of boost and overdrive that the unit's got to offer. With the height up full, there's lots of sort of excitement and extra harmonics added in, which was unexpected, and that's my favourite thing about the module. So subscribe to this channel for more videos coming soon, and feel free to leave comments and ask any questions.